Hey, friends and colleagues from the 2019 India Fellowship from CAORC and AIIS. How's it going? Thanks to Sandy and Glenn for putting all this together and letting me present in this format, because right now I'm working on a book project. I'm in the Pecos Wilderness, which is where I'm recording this. I'm in the Pecos Wilderness as you are watching this, not while I'm in the room right now. Where there's no internet, there's nothing anywhere but trees and, well, wilderness. So what I wanted to use my 2 slides plus 1 for was to talk about a project that came directly out of the work that we did in India, and it goes like this. So after Harini Nagendra talked to us in Bengaluru, I went to my room and ordered her book, and it was there when I arrived back at home in Texas, and I devoured it and went through it immediately. And it seems to be a really straightforward and simple way to gather data, and students can do it, looking at trees in urban areas. So I decided to take her idea and apply it to my physical geography class. So in the Geography and Environmental Sustainability program at Northwest Vista College, we have 3 levels of research, undergraduate research, that we typically categorize things in. And those are, you can see them here. The course-based activities are things we do in a course or in a classroom. They're usually short, maybe somebody does something outside of class and they bring it to class, and it's a 1 or 2 class kind of project. The course-based project, the one that I call a project, is a scaffolded into the semester type of external project. Students, they'll write a proposal, and then they write updates as they go along, but they design the project, and it's something that they present at the end of class in kind of a, they sit down at a table and talk to each other about it. It's not a PowerPoint presentation kind of thing, which gets really boring and puts people to sleep. And then we have these faculty-student collaboratives, which are external to classrooms. They're extracurricular, if you will, and then external research, which is usually done, our students are doing it with someone else, like these undergraduate programs through the National Science Foundation. Anyway, so what I did immediately when we got back is I adapted the idea from Nature in the City, and I let students do this kind of project, because what I thought, as you can see by the table of contents from the book here, is she and her students, Dr. Nagendra and her students, worked looking at nature along roadsides, nature in parks, nature in sacred places. And while I was in India, I was also noting the school grounds, the public school grounds, have huge trees in them. And I thought, well, why can't I have our students looking at the tree cover, tree density, and tree population at our college? So that's what I did. And a few students took me up on it. One student compared our college to another one in San Antonio. We have 5 independent colleges under an umbrella district, and they're all, their campuses are all completely different. So one student compared our college campus, which used to be a ranch back in 20, 30 years ago, to one of the urban inner city colleges, which has a few trees here and there, but it's mostly buildings because it's jam-packed into an urban space. And then to one of our newer colleges that is in an old pasture that the college district bought and then just paved over the whole thing. So it's one giant parking lot with some twigs sticking out of the ground that they call trees. So students, I had 3 of them for that first semester do this kind of project, and they were all independent of one another. And I would show them to you, but they were in a face-to-face class where they turned it in on paper. And those are sitting in my office in San Antonio, which I have not been able to access since before spring break of this year, 2020. Our college is totally closed down and nobody can go on to it. So anyway, that is an immediate result of the work that we did in India that I morphed into a project in our classes right away. Now, I also want to show you that's what we did in class. I've taken this idea and wrote a manuscript in a response to a call for papers in this Scholarship and Practice of Undergraduate Research Journal. And the call for papers was specifically for community colleges. So I put together a manuscript and a proposal first, and then a manuscript, and then a manuscript I revised it, sent it back, and it's in process right now. I believe it's going to be out in August or so. So the idea that I picked up from India, applied in the first time in the spring semester of 2019. Now I have turned it into a paper for others to read how I did that. And you can see some examples here. Now, I know Glenn said this should be 2 slides, but since I'm not here for him to tell me to stop now, because I have one more slide, because I'm really proud of this project, even though it failed. I have 2 other projects that came off of our work there, and this one is I had a student. I put out a kind of a call for internships, and I had a student respond to doing an internship at the Vivekananda Institute of Indian Studies, and I was able to drum up $2,000 scratched from all over the place around our college and our Office of International Programs. And the student and I put together this 26-page proposal for the college district that doesn't include the proposal for the Vivekananda Institute. She got the proposal 7 signatures from our department chair all the way up to the chancellor of our college district, managed to get this through and was accepted, but she could not get a visa to go do an internship in India because she is of Pakistani ancestry. And it's the online process, as you know, for just doing it for those of us who were trying to go in 2019, how difficult it was. For her, it was quadruple, if not multiple times more difficult. And she would run into these loops, like because she's of Pakistani ancestry, she had to have the passport numbers of her grandparents, for example. Her grandparents are passed away, but you couldn't do any more than that. So she just kept getting into these loops and more loops. She even drove to Houston and updated her Pakistani passport and spent the time and the money to do that, and was never able to get a visa. So the whole thing fell through simply because of her heritage. But what it did is it set the stage for us to be able to do this again in the future. And then the other follow-up idea is that when AIIS Auerbach announced a call for follow-ups for the work that we did in 2019, I responded. Originally, I had asked if Carrie Finlayson would work with me and Cyan Proctor. And Cyan was busy and Carrie had some other things going on, so they couldn't do it. But what I did is I put together a proposal to do what's called deep mapping. It's a qualitative sort of analysis of place that I don't want to get into here. But what it is it's written here. It's a relationship between climate change, glaciers, and the Yamuna River. That is where New Delhi gets a large amount of its water. And the proposal was for me to go do deep mapping, and it's really, a lot of it's influenced by Cyan's work in digital media, because I incorporated a lot of that into this. So thanks, Cyan, for all the work that you've done on that, because I'm just like stealing it right and left, and I'm going to try to see if I can do those kinds of things. So anyway, that's it for me. I'm about 10 seconds shy of my 10-minute limit, so I'm going to sign off and say adios. amigos, and I will see you guys later.